Manchester United are making decisions right now that will shape everything about how this club enters the next season, not just on the pitch, not just in the transfer market, but in terms of where the squad trains, where they bond, who stays, who goes, and who gets rewarded for their loyalty. Two separate stories are developing at Old Trafford simultaneously. One is about a young player fighting for his future at the club he grew up in. The other is about a summer blueprint that looks completely different from anything Manchester United have done in years. Both stories are connected, both stories matter, and both tell us something important about the direction this club is heading under Michael Carrick. Let us start with pre-season, because the decision Manchester United have made about where they spend their summer is not a small one. It is a significant financial and tactical choice. And the reasons behind it reveal a lot about the pressures every elite European club is facing this summer. Manchester United are finalising plans to stay in Europe for their entire pre-season. They are not travelling to the United States. They are not heading to Asia. 5 fixtures are being planned across the European continent, and while no matches have been officially confirmed yet, the destinations are beginning to take shape. The expected locations include Gothenburg in Sweden, Helsinki in Finland, Oslo in Norway, Warsaw in Poland, and Dublin in Ireland. Scotland was also considered as an alternative to the Dublin fixture, but Ireland appears to be the more likely choice for that closer to home game. This is a significant departure. Manchester United had travelled across the Atlantic for each of their previous 3 pre-season tours. The United States has traditionally been one of the most commercially valuable destinations for top European clubs. The revenue generated from those tours through ticket sales, sponsorship activations, and merchandise is substantial. Staying in Europe means accepting that this summer will be less commercially rewarding than what the club has become used to. The question is, why are they doing it? The stakes. The answer sits squarely with the 2026 World Cup. The tournament is being hosted across the United States, spread across 11 different American cities. The final of the 48-team competition is not scheduled until July the 19th. That is a week later than a standard World Cup final would normally be played. Think about what that means for Manchester United's squad. Some of their players will be representing their countries deep into that tournament. There is a realistic chance that a significant portion of the first-team squad will not be available to return to pre-season until the very start of August. The Premier League season kicks off on the weekend of August 22nd. That is an extremely tight window. If Manchester United had committed to a United States tour, they would have been attempting to run pre-season events in the same country that is hosting a major international tournament. The commercial focus of 11 American cities this summer is on the World Cup, not on hosting English club sides for pre-season friendlies. The market is simply less competitive than it would be in a normal summer. The appetite for corporate partnerships and venue deals around pre-season tours would be diluted by the much bigger spectacle happening at the same time. So the club weighed their options carefully. They kept the door open for some time, hoping that an offer might emerge that was simply too good to turn down. But no such offer came, and the decision has now been made. Europe it is. There is also a softer benefit being considered alongside the financial picture. With the squad arriving back in different phases depending on World Cup involvement, a European pre-season allows for more flexibility. The current thinking includes the possibility of a longer training camp somewhere on the continent. The purpose of that would be to give the group time together away from Carrington, to build team cohesion ahead of what will be an important season, and to integrate any new arrivals into the group in a controlled environment. That kind of bonding time matters, particularly for a squad that has seen significant turnover over the last 12 months. Engagement hook and call to action. Before we go deeper on the tactical and contractual side of this story, I want to say something to everyone watching. If you want deeper analysis on stories like this, we are here every time something important develops around Manchester United. We break down the moves that shape the game, the decisions behind the decisions, and the implications that other channels skip past. Subscribe to stay ahead as this situation develops. Hit that subscribe button if you want the full picture on transfers, tactics, and club decisions. This channel exists for people who want the real analysis, not just the headlines. Now, back to the story. Deep dive. The Saudi Arabia question. There is one more element to the pre-season picture that deserves attention because it tells us something important about how Manchester United are managing their schedule and their finances this season. The club had also been weighing up the possibility of a mid-season trip to Saudi Arabia. The opportunity on the table was worth somewhere between £5 million and £10 million, earned by playing a couple of games in the Middle East during one of the breaks between fixtures. That is not an insignificant sum of money for what would essentially be a short trip. Manchester United ultimately decided against it. They chose not to take that deal. The fact that it was seriously considered and the fact that it was turned down both say something. The club is clearly conscious of revenue opportunities, but they also made a judgment that the mid-season disruption, the travel, and the potential impact on the squad during a season where they are still building under a new manager was not worth it. The decision was made to protect the football operation. That is a measured, considered choice, and it fits a pattern of decision-making under the current setup that prioritizes stability and momentum. The Kobbie Mainoo situation. Now let us turn to the contract story, because this one is arguably more important in terms of what it means for Manchester United's long-term future. Kobbie Mainoo is 20 years old. He is a product of the Manchester United Academy at Carrington. He has already played 94 first-team games for the club, and he is on track to reach 100 appearances before the season ends. His current contract expires in 2027. Earlier this season, under the previous manager Ruben Amorim, Mainoo did not start a single game. Not one. For a player of his quality and age, that situation was deeply uncomfortable. Reports emerged that he was extremely unhappy. During the January transfer window, speculation around a potential move away from Old Trafford intensified. He needed regular game time, particularly with the World Cup on the horizon this summer. A loan move had been considered the previous summer, but did not materialise. The January window came and went without a departure either. Then Michael Carrick came in. Since Carrick replaced Amorim and took charge of first-team affairs in January, Kobbie Mainoo has started every single game. Every one. He went from being frozen out entirely to being a guaranteed starter overnight. The transformation was immediate and complete. According to reports, Mainoo is now happy at his boyhood club. The change in his personal situation at Manchester United has been that dramatic, and the club are now described as confident that they will be able to extend his contract and keep him at Old Trafford beyond 2027. Speaking on the Transfer Insider podcast, the correspondent from Football Insider described the situation clearly. Under Ruben Amorim, there would have been no progress on contract discussions whatsoever. That door was effectively closed. But under Carrick, everything has changed. The expectation now is that talks will reopen soon and that the club and player will reach an agreement. The timing of those talks matters. Manchester United face Bournemouth on March the 20th. After that match, there is a 3-week gap before they host Leeds on April the 13th. That international break period is being identified as the ideal window for the club to sit down with Mainoo's representatives and work toward getting a deal done. Why does this matter so much? Leverage is everything in contract negotiations. The longer a club waits to extend a player's deal, the more power the player holds as the expiry date draws closer. If Manchester United allow Mainoo's contract to run down toward its final year, other clubs will take notice. Interest will emerge. The players' representatives will have more and more leverage at the negotiating table. The cost of keeping him rises with every month that passes without resolution. Getting this done quickly is in the club's interest. Clearly, the current setup under Carrick has created the right environment for that conversation to happen. The tactical picture and Mainoo's role. Understanding why Mainoo has become so important under Carrick also requires looking at the tactical decisions being made in the team right now. Manchester United face Aston Villa in their next Premier League fixture. This comes after a difficult 1-0 defeat against Newcastle United, a result that left fans concerned about whether the positive momentum from Carrick's early weeks was beginning to slow. Carrick's record since taking charge tells a clear story of what is possible with this squad. He began with a 2-0 victory in the Manchester derby, with goals from Bryan Mbeumo and Patrick Dorgu. Wins followed against Arsenal and Fulham. A victory over Tottenham Hotspur, who were reduced to 10 men during the game, added further points. A 1-1 draw against West Ham United introduced some doubt, although Benjamin Šeško earned a point in the dying moments of that match. A win against Everton followed, but the Newcastle defeat has shifted the mood. And heading into the Aston Villa fixture, there are clear questions about selection. Here is what the article identifies as the central tactical issue. When Benjamin Šeško starts as the centre-forward, he moves into the central role, and Bryan Mbeumo shifts out to the right flank. That means Amad Diallo drops to the bench. The problem with that arrangement is that without Amad in the team, Šeško is being starved of service. The numbers support this. Against Newcastle, Šeško had just 24 touches across the full 90 minutes. Compare that to Matheus Cunha, who had 36 touches in 70 minutes when he played from the centre-forward position against West Ham. Amad's ability to drive at defenders, beat fullbacks and create chances through individual quality is something the attack misses when he is not on the pitch. When Mbeumo is asked to play wide on the right, his natural instinct is to cut inside rather than to run the outside channel and deliver crosses. That is not a criticism of Mbeumo as a player. He is described in the article as undoubtedly a great player, but it is a different profile to Ahmad's. And the combination of Ahmad and Mbeumo in the same lineup was what made the attack function so effectively earlier in the season. With Ahmad on the right able to beat his man and get behind the defense, Mbeumo had the freedom to cut inside with time and space. That balance is lost when Ahmad is not playing. The recommended solution in the article is to bring Ahmad back into the starting 11 alongside Šeško. That would mean either Mbeumo shifting to the left flank or Matheus Cunha dropping to the bench to serve as an impact substitute. There is also a concern around Luke Shaw, who was substituted in both the Crystal Palace and Newcastle matches, raising questions about his fitness ahead of the Villa game. Aston Villa are not in ideal form themselves. They have lost 2 of their last 3 Premier League games, but they remain a serious opponent under Unai Emery. And the article is clear that if Manchester United perform as they did against Newcastle, they will struggle. The bigger summer picture. All of this connects back to the larger picture developing around Manchester United this summer. Last summer, the club spent more than £200 million on the attack. Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Šeško were all brought in as part of a major rebuild of a forward line that had failed to score enough goals the previous season. To fund part of that overhaul, players including Antony, Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho all departed the club. This summer, the focus shifts to midfield. Casemiro has already confirmed he will leave Old Trafford. The futures of both Manuel Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes remain uncertain as things stand. Against that backdrop, keeping Kobbie Mainoo becomes even more critical. If United are losing experience and depth in the midfield area, holding on to a 20-year-old who has the quality, the game intelligence, and the club connection to be a long-term cornerstone of that position is not optional. It is essential. The names being linked with possible summer arrivals in midfield, including Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes, are described in the article as rumours and links only. None of those moves are confirmed. None of those deals are done. They are speculation at this stage and should be treated as such. What is not speculation is the direction Manchester United are trying to move in. Rebuild through investment and smart decisions. Keep the players who matter. Build stability through the coaching staff and the squad culture. And plan a summer that prioritises football preparation over commercial returns, even when that costs money in the short term. Final thought, 2 stories. Both point in the same direction. Manchester United are choosing substance over spectacle this summer. A European pre-season instead of a money-spinning tour. A manager who plays the players who deserve to play. A club willing to sit down with a 20-year-old academy product and make sure he knows he belongs there. Whether all of this works will be judged by results. The Aston Villa match is next. The Bournemouth game follows. Then a 3-week break that could define Kobbie Mainoo's future at this club. We will be here for every development, every confirmed story, every rumour that needs separating from the facts. That is what Marcus United Analysis is here to do. Stay subscribed. This summer is going to move fast.